Okay, let's work a couple more application type problems. This one we have a graph or a chart here. It's talking about monthly average temperatures, and I want you to notice that along the bottom side here we have our months spelled out. So each one of these categories represents one of the months of the year. And then along this side here it says degrees Fahrenheit. So these are our temperatures. So, learning how to read these graphs is part of the battle here. Now this says find the difference in temperature between the months of March and February. Okay, so if we're looking at March and February, I'd be looking at these two places right here. In February, the average temperature was -3, and in March, the average temperature was 12. Well, can you see that it would take us 3 degrees to get up to 0, and then another 12 degrees would be 15 degrees total between those two. Sometimes that's easier just to visualize and see, but we also need to know how to write that out. Now, this says find the difference. Difference is a key word for subtraction. So they're telling us to subtract two things. Well, what two things are we supposed to subtract? March and February. So if I take March temperature and we subtract February's temperature, well, what is March's temperature? That's a 12. Minus February's temperature was a -3. So remember, we said it should be 15, so let's see if we're correct. Here we have this minus, minus. Anytime we have that right beside each other, we are literally saying the opposite of -3, or the opposite of 3. Well, the opposite of -3 would be +3. So that's technically 12 plus 3, which would be 15 degrees. So we did get the right answer. Now let's try one more. Again, temperatures. This one says a temperature recorded in Antarctica was -116 degrees Fahrenheit. The temperature recorded in the Sahara Desert was 129 degrees Fahrenheit. How many degrees warmer is 129 than -116? Well, if you'll remember, in one of the last videos, we drew out sort of a kind of a odd-shaped thermometer here. We started out at the -6, and then we went up that 9 degrees to the 3. Well, in this problem, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to draw out that temperature, or that thermometer, because I, quite frankly, do not want to make 116 tick marks and then 129 above. But we can use the same concept that we did with the temperatures in March and February. If on the positive side, if we start out at 129 degrees and we want to find the difference between these, then we would subtract off the 116 degrees. Now by doing that, minus, or the opposite of the negative, would be the same thing as saying a positive. So what we're really saying is 129 plus 116. And whenever we add those two things together, we should get, 245 degrees. Now if you think about it, even though I can't really draw out and do the tick marks quite so easily, but if one place is down here at -116 and one place is up here at 129, it's going to take us 116 just to get back to 0. And then we would have to go up 129 from there. So can you see that that's why we're really adding those things, even though we're talking about the difference in temperatures?